Hello, this is the Cool Kid and welcome to another Heroica video. I'm not dead. I am in fact still making videos occasionally, and this is the latest one. It's a Lego Heroica one, as you can tell clearly by the Heroica figures and whatnot. It's a bit of a different one. I haven't done something quite like this before. It's a bit of a reiteration of an older build, which I didn't actually even make a video on. And, yeah, it is the Lego Heroica Catacombs, not based on the Orion Catacombs, but you can see it as a great improvement thereon. Without further ado, let's get into the build. First of all, of course, this is a very modular, it's, as you probably saw in the video title, and is also a very hidden information Lego Heroica build, because all of this is, of course, hidden. So this is obviously the start, the stairs go down into it, and everything else is perfectly movable and customizable. All of these little lids lift off to reveal the rooms underneath. There is a double room here. Most of the rooms are single, the same size, but that one is twice the size of a regular room. There we go, lids are all off. And all of these rooms can be removed, like so, and rotated, replaced back in any which way. And in that way, you can randomize the dungeon if you want by simply just kind of shuffling them around and then placing them without looking. Or, as I've done in this scenario, you can have a third party, or if you want someone else, just to build this dungeon. I'm calling it a dungeon just because of what it's kind of what it is. The catacombs for you to play. And all of these, again, all the monsters can be placed, again, by a person who's building it. You can put them in randomly, etc., etc. This example build that I have for you is very simple. It's just got the stairs to go down. You can go to this room, which reveals a little coffin. These are something that is scattered throughout the build, and they will have many things in them. This one just has a little gold piece in it, but they can have anything from potions to the gold to a couple monsters in there, and the coveted golden keys, which, well, their purpose will be revealed in a moment. There are stairs, because this is a 3-layered build, and this stairway just goes down one level. This stairway over here will go down all the way. You can't really see just because of how dark it is, but it goes down all the way to the bottom. Anyways, carrying on with the details of the build. This doorway also goes through into this room. This room connects to the stairway, which will go down. This stairway connects over to this room. This room connects to this room. This room connects to both of those. There is a wall here, so these rooms do not connect. Otherwise, this room goes to here. It also connects to there, and these two rooms also connect to each other. These 3 rooms are not accessible from the upper floor. You have to go down to the second floor and then come up this stairway, which I thought was an interesting little just option. Just to, like, the various loot on the upper level, just some potions. This purple potion is a custom potion for this specific build. I believe I call it a divination potion. You can spend it at any time to look at the rooms directly adjacent to yours, above yours, and below yours, which you normally wouldn't be able to do, obviously, without going into them. That is about all I have for the first level. I will take you down to the second level, and you can see what's there. There you are. There's the second level. As I said, everything's extremely removable, so that's the first level right over there. I just, you arrange it like that so you can remember where it goes, but it all just comes right off, and ideally you'd be taking it off one at a time as you go into the rooms, so that you won't see what the other rooms are. The only way you can get down to the second level, of course, is through the upper stairway over there, which connects down to here. There's a little goblin there. This stairway only goes out to here, which there's just a big old goblin. This is a room. There is a door here. You can't really see it just because of the camera angle, but inside of it there is a gray key. The golden keys are what unlock this door, so you can only move through these doors if you have a golden key, which, yeah, I believe I haven't actually shown you one, but they're in some of these coffins around here. There's a couple of them. And this gray key can be used to unlock the wooden coffins. Technically, these are sarcophagi, actually. Wooden coffins in the 3rd level, which is where the end game condition is. There's also a little gold in here. This room connects to this one. This room does... No, never mind, sorry. This room actually connects to this room as well, which connects over to this room. This room connects to both of these adjacent rooms. This room connects to just this stairway, which connects to, sorry, it doesn't connect to that one, never mind. It connects over to this one, so that all these rooms just kind of connect up to everything that they touch. This room connects over to this room, through to this room. It also connects down to this one. This room does not connect to anything. It is blocked off completely. This room connects to the stairway, which is how you get up to the other 3 rooms in the upper. This coffin connects only to the stairway room, so it's just more stuff. There's a little bat in there. It's just another strength 1 monster. This room also connects over to the skeleton room with a luck potion in it. The skeleton is, it's actually not anything. It's an unintentional and also kind of dark reference to the Ilrion catacombs set. I didn't even intend it. I just had a skeleton. I was like, oh, I'll chain him to the wall. But it's not a monster or anything. It's just cosmetic. This room connects to this sarcophagus room. This sarcophagus room connects over to this room. There's a bat in this corner room, and that connects up to here. This stairway only connects to these 2 rooms. And this is a stairway that goes down to the 3rd floor. This also goes down to the third floor because it's a grand stairway. Otherwise, that is about it for the 2nd level. I know that the really first level is normally lowest, but because it's like a sub-levels, I call this one the 2nd level, next one the 3rd level, the top one the 1st level. That is it for the 2nd level. I will now take off and see the 3rd. Here we are. We have the 3rd level for a grand total of 48 rooms, technically 45, but 48 cubes, because there's 3 double rooms. Here we have the 3 coffins that are gonna trigger the end of the game, but anyways, there are these 2 stairways, which again go from the upper levels. There's a little goblin standing at the bottom of them. This stairway connects just to this room. This room goes over to here. This coffin room connects back to this room. So this is just a one little way passage that goes a little snake. This room, I believe, connects, this room connects to both this stairwell and this sarcophagus room. This sarcophagus room connects to this big wooden coffin room. It also connects over to this defense potion room, which connects back to this stairway. And that is kind of that little section, because these rooms don't connect to other sections. So this connects over to this gray room, which, doesn't connect to that yet. So this connects to this gray room, which this gray room connects over to the sarcophagus room, which connects to this other key room. There's just a gold there, a bat, and then the key, the gray key that is. And then this room also connects to this long kind of stint. This all just connects as one long line, but it doesn't connect to any other rooms, but just the long line of itself. There's a stone golem in here, which is a strength 2 monster, and then the 2 other wooden sarcophagus rooms. These actually open kind of funny. You actually have to open them by pulling them outwards first to disconnect them from the wall, if they're not stuck, evidently. Yep. And then they have to slide, just because it's difficult to get them to fit a figure in such a small area. And inside that one, there is just a little zombie. But if the end of the game is triggered once this one is opened, just because this one has the trigger in it, and this one has the vampire in it, the big old vampire that is in the Ilrion catacombs, and once he is killed, the person who kills him gets the little staff, and then the game is over. If I can actually get the lid. It's not the easiest, honestly. The only problem with this build is that sometimes it's difficult to kind of move stuff around. This is really the most difficult bit, but there we go. Got it. Oh well. And also you can really, honestly, I just take the room out because that makes it easier to actually remove stuff. And there you go. So inside it was the little vampire lord. That is it for the overview of this build. Now I'll kind of cut back and I will go over kind of the changed rules for the build. Alright, changed rules. First of all, changed rules on moving. Obviously, you could only move between rooms that have a door. Just because there's tiles there, you kind of just skip over them when you move through that room. Just because if I actually put a stud there, it would be impossible to place a figure. So you can only move through that. Of course, you can't move through the walls. And the other important thing is when moving, to a room, for example, if you move one space through here and you don't fight between rooms. So even though you're technically only one space away from the goblin, you don't fight the goblin. But when you move one space into this room, you would land on the goblin. If that would happen because you wouldn't fight him, you would treat it as a player and just keep going, land in the space past the little goblin, and then fight him. Just because it's really the only practical way of doing this, because you wouldn't know that he was there, so you wouldn't be able to fight him. So that is the main movement rule change. The other one is when moving up or down stairways. Once you're at the top or bottom, you just spend one space of movement and go all the way to the other end. And that's really the simple bit. Nothing really special about stairs. You just treat them as adjacent, but you don't fight downstairs. You treat them, you do the same thing as you would when you're moving through a room. Rule changes on the coffins. It's not really anything special, just for both little and big coffins. When you're adjacent to them, you can open one. That's all. You don't have to spend anything, and then you just open it, you reveal it. If there's an item inside, you gain the item. If there's a monster inside, you place it in the room adjacent to you, and then fight it immediately. Weapons don't confer the benefits twice. Once you open one, you leave the lid off, regardless of what game mode you're playing it in. That is the coffins. The one exception is that you need a gray key in order to open the brown coffins. Otherwise, they function the same as the gray coffins. These rooms with the gray keys in them, there's the door right there. You just need a golden key in order to move through the door. You cannot move through the door if you do not have a golden key, and unlike some doors in Heroica, they're not unlocked once someone goes through them. You can't go through them unless you have a golden key, so if you don't have a golden key, you are not moving through them. There's no way of moving through them. Side note, there can be some difficulty in telling where the open doors are in a room, especially when you get to the lower rooms. So for that, I have this. This is just a Technic axle with a little thing on the end. It's a door tester, so you can use it to feel where the open doorways are in a room, and then otherwise it'll just hit a wall, or in the case of rooms that dead end, that have a doorway that does not actually lead to anything, it still stops it before it goes all the way, into the end of the other room. So that's how you can tell that. Other rule changes. When playing the game, you can pick any character, and the way that the most important thing is the way that the game is won. The condition for victory. Like I said, the game ends when a player defeats the vampire and gains this little guy. The person who wins is the person who has gained the most gold throughout the game. This is considered to be a count of 3 gold for the purposes of scoring. And when you spend gold on a weapon, like you can in regular Heroica, you can buy weapons from a shop, you set the gold aside, but you still count it towards victory points, but you can still spend it and gain the weapon and use the special abilities. Gold gained from separate sources, really the only one in this is the rogue's ability, does not count towards victory. You do not get to get free victory points from the rogue. The sage's ability does not let you see through rooms, so it's honestly a bit of a mediocre ability. Same thing with the wizard and ranger's ability. They do not let you see their ranges, don't let you see into rooms that you didn't previously see in. Now, the one last thing for me to cover is this alternate game mode that I have for this Heroica build, which is honestly, the game mode isn't strictly Heroica, but in my opinion is very fun. I've played it once before, well, in a previous iteration of this build, and yeah, that's all I can say. It is I call it a Minotaur game mode, though in this scenario it's more of a vampire thing. The basic way it works is one person plays against the rest of the players. This one person is playing the vampire. The rest of the players are running from the vampire, attempting to reach their goal before the vampire reaches them and kills them all. And the primary way this works is the players will start at the start, the entrance to the crypt. the catacombs, and the vampire player will skip their first 2 turns. The one other change is that when you roll a 1 on the die in this game mode, you treat it as a 2, just for the purposes of movement, that is. And when you move around, the players will just be kind of running around trying to get the keys to access the golden staff, because once they reach the staff where the vampire would normally be, they escape and win the game. The individual player, rather, not as a group. It's not the players don't win as a group. The vampire does not roll for movement. They just move a flat 3 spaces every turn. And the vampire, usually he can design the catacombs, but it's encouraged not to design them like a jerk, design them in a way that, you should be able to win, whether the players have a chance. But, so the vampire should know the design of the map. The players do not. You have to remove all monsters and potions from the map, basically everything from the map except for the gray and gold keys, because those you need to have in order to win. When the vampire goes next to a player, the vampire rolls the die. If there's any kind of sword symbol on it or shield, including the skull and sword, the player takes a damage, and the vampire skips their next turn. If they roll, importantly, when the game starts, the players will, everyone then the vampire will always go first. So the survivors and then the vampire is always going to be the turn order. The vampire always goes last in turn order. So the players kind of have 3 turns of a head start, but that's just the way it works. And then if the vampire rolls a skull on his attack dice, he does not lose his next turn, but the player takes no damage. Depending on the number of players there are, players will have different levels of health. If there's only 1 player, that player has 3 health. If there are 2 survivors rather, not players. If there are 2 survivors, they will each have 2 health. If there are 3 or 4 survivors, they will each have 1 health. And I haven't actually play tested it in this map, so I can't guarantee that these rules won't change, but these are just the basic guidelines. And I highly encourage the playing of something like this yourself. The important thing is after you explore a room in this, you cover it up at the end of your turn, basically. And you have to make it hidden, basically, by either having a player leave the room or having some kind of screen or something to prevent the vampire player from knowing what the other players are doing. The other players can know what they're doing, but the vampire cannot see what they're doing. They cannot see what the vampire's doing, and you replace everything at the end of your turn, so you don't know where you are. The way you remember where you are is by these 2 little things. The vampire uses this one, levels, and then which location. The arrow shows where up is. This does a similar thing. Each player just picks a color and then uses that. So level 1, represented by dots, level 1, level 2, level 3, and then you just place the square where you are. And then you flip it upside down so the other people can't see. The one other rule is that when a player moves a space, and they move a space which would take them into a room with a vampire, they can elect to take back that space of movement. They forfeit that space of movement and move back to where they previously were. So they can't accidentally just move and end their turn in the space with the vampire, and only on the vampire's turn does the vampire, attack people, basically. So if the players move in a space adjacent to the vampire, they do not trigger a fight like in normal Heroica. Only the vampire triggers the fights. The one other thing about the vampire game mode, and that's a very important thing, is players don't have special powers. Their characters don't really do anything different. The figures just represent them. And that is it for the Catacombs video. I would like to thank you very much for watching. I can't foresee when I'll next do a video, but maybe eventually. But anyway, just thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video, whenever that may be.